The crab hits the grill and the entire internet loses it. Not just a cooking scene, a full-blown spectacle that turns fantasy seafood into the most drool-worthy content anime has delivered this season. Mukoda's standing on a beach, giant fantasy crab legs sizzling over open flame, and his companions, Fenrir the ancient wolf and goddesses who've tasted celestial cuisine, are literally salivating like they've never seen food this perfect. This isn't your standard isekai power fantasy where the protagonist solves everything with combat. This is comfort food elevated to art. Modern Japanese ingredients summoned through absurd cheat skills colliding with a fantasy world that has no concept of soy sauce or proper seasoning. The reactions are what sell it. Fenrir's eyes go wide. The goddesses forget their composure entirely. Every bite triggers expressions of pure bliss that the animation team clearly put their entire budget into capturing. And fans? They're recreating the dishes, posting their own seafood feasts, turning this single episode into a cultural moment where anime food porn reached peak virality. TikToks flooded with clips, Instagram reels showing the hotpot sequence have millions of views, Reddit threads are just people admitting they ordered takeout halfway through watching because the hunger was unbearable. This scene isn't just good. It's the kind of content that reminds you why campfire cooking in another world works when so many isekai shows blur together into forgettable noise. It's cozy, it's indulgent, it's watching someone who just wants to cook good food accidentally becoming the most powerful being in the world because his meals are so transcendent that mythical creatures would burn down kingdoms for another serving. But that's just the start. Here's how it all unravels. Campfire cooking in another world with my absurd skill has always been the anti-isekai isekai. Mukoda got summoned to a fantasy world as part of a hero party, but his skill, online grocery, the ability to order modern ingredients from Japan, was deemed useless for combat, so they ditched him. Best decision of his life. Instead of grinding levels and fighting demon lords, Mukoda's been traveling, cooking insanely good meals, and accidentally befriending the most overpowered beings in existence because his food is better than anything they've ever tasted. Fenrir, the legendary wolf who could annihilate armies, became his contracted familiar purely for the meals. Multiple goddesses have formed contracts with him for the same reason. Mukoda's not fighting the fantasy world's problems, he's feeding them into submission. Season 2 has been escalating the cooking stakes, and this beach episode represents the peak. Mukoda's finally at the ocean, which means seafood. Ingredients his companions have never experienced. Fantasy worlds have fish, sure, but they don't have Japanese grilling techniques, don't have the condiments and seasonings that transform raw ingredients into transcendent cuisine. Mukoda's online grocery skill lets him summon soy sauce, mirin, sake, proper grilling equipment, the entire arsenal of Japanese cooking culture. And he's using it to prepare a feast that's part beach barbecue, part gourmet hotpot, entirely designed to make everyone watching desperately hungry. The scene builds methodically. Giant fantasy crab gets harvested. These aren't normal crabs. They're the size of small cars, meaty and pristine. Mukoda preps them with the kind of care that makes you realize he's not just someone who cooks to survive. He genuinely loves this. The grilling sequence is pure food porn. Close-ups of searing meat, butter melting, seasonings being applied with precision. Then comes the hot pot, a massive communal pot where everything gets thrown together. Shellfish, vegetables, broth that's been simmering with ingredients his companions can't even identify but know instinctively will be incredible. Fenrir's reactions are a running gag elevated to art form. This ancient, terrifying wolf who's supposed to be aloof and powerful turns into an excited puppy the moment food appears. The goddesses, beings who've existed for millennia, who've tasted ambrosia in divine feasts, admit Mukoda's cooking surpasses anything they've ever experienced. That's the show's hook. Mortal food prepared with skill and modern knowledge beats celestial cuisine because intention and care matter more than raw magical power. The viral spread wasn't accidental. The animation team clearly knew this episode would pop off. The detail in the food, the exaggerated but genuine reactions, the pacing that lets you savor every moment, it's designed to be clipped, shared, rewatched. And fans responded exactly as intended, turning this into the fall season's most talked about non-action scene. The online grocery skill is the series' smartest subversion of isekai power creep. Most protagonists get combat abilities that scale infinitely, swords that cut anything, magic that destroys armies. Mukoda got glorified DoorDash. But the genius is recognizing that in a fantasy world without modern supply chains or culinary knowledge, access to contemporary ingredients and cooking tools is absurdly overpowered in non-combat ways. He's not winning fights, he's winning hearts, stomachs, and loyalty from beings who could flatten kingdoms but would rather eat his food than conquer anything. That's power through value creation rather than destruction, and it's refreshing in a genre drowning in combat-focused protagonists. Fenrir's character development through food is surprisingly effective. When he first appeared, he was this untouchable legend, the kind of creature heroes would need endgame parties to even survive encountering. His contract with Mukoda was transactional, protection in exchange for meals. But over time, genuine affection has developed. The way Fenrir reacts to the seafood feast isn't just gluttony, it's trust. He's dropped all pretense of dignity because he's comfortable enough with Mukoda to be excited, to show vulnerability through enthusiasm for something as simple as good food. That's relationship building without needing dramatic backstory reveals or tearful confessions. Just consistent care expressed through cooking. In the bond that forms when someone keeps showing up with meals that make your day better. The goddess's involvement adds another layer. These are beings who shouldn't need mortal food, who've existed on divine energy or whatever sustains celestial entities. But Mukoda's cooking offers something they can't get through power alone. Sensory pleasure. The experience of tasting something new and perfectly prepared. The communal joy of sharing a meal. Their willingness to form contracts with Mukoda just for continued access to his cooking isn't weakness. It's recognizing that existence without pleasure or new experiences becomes hollow, no matter how much power you have. They're trading divine aloofness for the very mortal experience of looking forward to dinner. And that trade makes them more relatable despite being literal goddesses. The viral spread reveals something about what audiences crave right now. Action anime dominates discussions, but Campfire Cooking's comfort food approach is clearly resonating. The show offers escapism that's not about power fantasies or overcoming impossible odds. It's about imagining a world where your passion and skills are appreciated, where doing something well brings genuine joy to others, where life can be simple and good. The beach feast scene went viral because it's aspirational in the best way. Not, I wish I could defeat demon lords, but I wish I could cook a meal that makes everyone this happy. That's a fantasy more people can emotionally connect with. The community responds, people cooking their own versions, sharing meals they made while watching, admitting the show made them order takeout, shows the series is successfully creating real-world engagement beyond just watching. It's inspiring action, making people think about food differently, turning anime into a communal experience where fans participate rather than just consume. That's rare and valuable. The theory about a cuisine-focused antagonist or divine cook-off emerging is fascinating, because it would test Mukoda in ways combat never could. His strength isn't fighting, it's cooking. A rival who challenges him on that ground, who forces him to innovate beyond his modern ingredient advantage, would be the perfect conflict. It would prove whether his skill comes from the online grocery cheat or from genuine culinary talent developed through care and practice. And thematically, it would ask whether the joy he brings through food can survive being turned into competition rather than sharing. If this beach feast really is the peak of Season 2's cooking sequences, if nothing else matches the viral impact and emotional satisfaction of watching Mukoda feed his found family on that beach while waves crash and the grill sizzles, then Campfire Cooking has proven that sometimes the most memorable anime moments aren't final battles or tragic deaths, they're simple, joyful scenes of people enjoying something good together. And that's worth celebrating.